Donald Trump is threatening to strike on land in Venezuela, saying that he is going to get the CIA to attack Venezuela. Fantastic. This is what we really need right now, I think. I think we need another forever war, everybody. I was just thinking, what could we do? What could we do to really fuck up the bag? What could we do to really fuck this country? To just put it on, to ensure that it dies, okay? And there you go. Lo and behold, Donald Trump, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, he was like, you know what this country needs? Another Iraq, but this time with direct proximity. Like another Iraq on our continent, basically. Not on our continent directly, but, you know, in our backyard, as close to our backyard as possible. Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. The mad lad. He's doing it during a government shutdown because the Republicans are refusing to even offer or continue subsidies so that people can pay for their fucking healthcare. Their costly healthcare, mind you. Their costly healthcare that keeps expanding in cost every single year, mind you. Okay? We don't even want to offer the Band-Aid solution to the Americans so that they can at least still continue existing and continue being able to pay for their healthcare without like losing an arm and a fucking leg. Fantastic, dude. Such lunacy. It's incredible. Everything fucking sucks. Everything is dog shit. And meanwhile, people are just so oblivious to everything that's happening, with the exception of those who are in this community, obviously. But even then, there are still a significant number of people who are coming in here to be like, well, I'm here to watch you abuse your dog or whatever the fuck people think I do nowadays.
President Trump considering U.S. strikes on Venezuelan soil to combat drug cartels.
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control.
The president also escalating U.S. operations against Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro. Trump confirming he's authorized covert CIA action in the country. But when asked if the agency has the authority to take out Maduro, Trump non-committal.
But I think Venezuela is feeling heat.
In a statement overnight, Venezuela accusing Trump of trying to legitimize a regime change operation to access the country's oil resources.
Would another Iraq cause incredible civil unrest, the level of Vietnam due to deteriorated living conditions? I don't even fucking know anymore, man. I don't even know. I don't know. I feel like there is no way that America recovers from that. Okay? There is no fucking way. I don't even think there's enough appetite amongst the military to engage in this kind of fuck shit. But what do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. I do feel like there probably would be a lot more discontent. Like I feel like this guy is creating the conditions for an officer's rebellion, you know, like a thing that hasn't really happened in the United States of America in the past. It seems like it could happen, especially with like, once I watched the Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, like dressing down of all the generals, that's when I realized like, this is actually so psychotic. Like this will be a danger. This, I suspect, will be a danger to the Trump administration, unlike anything else. Because I think people discount how many fucking generals are hyper libbed up, and they think that like the U.S. military represents positive values like defending democracy. A lot of people don't realize that like some of these generals, not every single one of these generals is like a general spider rapist or whatever who's just there to hawk Raytheon products on CNN. Some of those guys do unironically come from long-standing military families. They're very well read. They're huge liberals, and they think that like the American military is supposed to represent, protecting the American nation from tyrants and enemies, both foreign and domestic. So I don't think that like they're all going to be on board with like drunk rapist Pete Hegseth running around and being like, that's right, we got to listen to more podcasts and become more alpha dog. But who knows?
Sources saying they would bring up the matter at the UN Security Council today. It comes after the U.S. carried out its fifth deadly.
I mean, this is famous. Like General Milley defends military studies of critical race theory. I want to understand white rage. This is why they belittled him. Remember, they called him Marx Milley. They said he's woke. They say he's woke and gay because he was like, I read Mao and everyone should read Mao. It's so like the anti-intellectual stint that this administration has really, really pushed, I suspect is making its way through all of our institutions. But I would assume that the American military, which has at least been like, in comparison to all of the other public services that America offers that have been totally gutted, the American military is probably one of the last remaining stable institutions. Obviously, it's not. Like, people will say, what the fuck do you mean it's stable? Have you seen the barracks and the places that people live in? Like, it's in a state of dire disrepair. Like, we treat the military active duty service members like shit. Yes. But I'm saying in comparison to all of the other public services and public structures that we have, I would go so far as to say that the American military is like one of the last somewhat competent institutions in the country. And I don't think that a lot of the American generals are going to be on board with the anti-intellectualist momentum that has taken root, at least in the governance structure of the military, at least in the command structure of the military.
Strike on an alleged drug boat off the coast of Venezuela. Trump posting this video on social media, saying 6 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel were killed in the strike.
Military has commie grocery stores, though? Yeah, they're trying to take that away, too. Donald Trump floated selling the commissary structure to a private corporation. For the record, Donald Trump wants to sell the publicly owned grocery stores that the military has to a private owner. I swear to God, they're entertaining a revolt. Like they want like a military rebellion to take place, I think. Anyway, yeah, I think Hegseth and Trump should do these meetings where they insult generals once a month. Do it once a week. Historically speaking, military leaders love this. Yeah, we're in a very weird place right now in the United States of America, and I do think that a lot of people are oblivious to exactly what's going on. But it is crazy that like the American military is entertaining just blowing up and not entertaining, just like straight up blowing up fishermen off the coastline of a totally sovereign nation that we have declared a foreign adversary, and claiming that we're doing that to like somehow save the Venezuelan population, and you know, like Maduro, hate Maduro, doesn't fucking matter. Ultimately, America is playing a very, very dangerous game here. Very violent, unrestrained, utterly psychotic force of evil on the planet. How else do you look at the situation and see it as anything but that? Check the tweet. He sent B-52 bombers to fly over Venezuela. Breaking, 3 B-52 bombers took off from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana on Wednesday and flew for hours near the coast of Venezuela, according to flight tracking data, in what appears to be a major show of force by President Trump. What the fuck? Will this cause all of the pro-NATO, pro-defense liberals to also say, wow, my president is being quite presidential? Is that what they're gonna say? Like, this is saber rattling, and it's beyond saber rattling. This is not like even paper tiger shit. This is just straight up like entertaining war. President of peace. I'm Trinidadian, and apparently the 2 Trinis were on this boat that they destroyed, and our insane prime minister is defending it. Oh, thank God. Wonderful. I cannot. I don't know, man. I feel like this is so crazy. And it is happening at a time when there is already not unprecedented discontent, but like tremendous discontent, right? Like, people are not happy with their day-to-day existence. Everything is getting worse rapidly at an alarming rate. Everything is shittier than it was a year prior. Okay? And all this guy is doing, all this Mad King is doing is basically, let's expand the conflict. You know what would be really good right now? A hot war in the Latin American continent. What the fuck?
The Trump administration's operation in the Caribbean first began in early September.
Has Venezuela ever done anything to deserve military offensives like this? Or is he just doing it for the love of the game? Yes, he's doing it for the love of the game. And because the administration is actually openly incompetent and doesn't even care to present like a good alternative, like I feel like if this was being done under liberal leadership, they would at the very least constantly talk about how bad Maduro is and how the only way to bring democracy to Venezuela is by directly engaging Venezuela with conflict and with war or something. But the Trump administration straight up is like, I'm evil. I don't like people, and I want to kill Venezuelans. Like they basically openly are like, they have a lot of oil. They have large oil reserves. I want it. And even if like Maduro were to hand it off to like fucking Chevron or some shit, I want it on my own. I want it the way I want to get it. It's just America is a rogue state. And the difference between America always being a rogue state by definition, because it's the hegemonic superpower, and America behaving like a rogue state now, is that they've taken off the safeguards. Okay? They are completely dropping all notion that this is a valid act, a valid and necessary and just act. In the past, they would at least try to present an argument as to why this must happen. Present an argument that like the Venezuelans will welcome us as liberators, shit like that. That's not happening anymore. There's no longer even a need for the admin. They're just like, nope, this is it. We're doing it. Fuck you gonna do about it? That's the attitude. It's pretty crazy.
September and has drawn fierce condemnation from Democratic lawmakers who say the strikes risk getting the U.S. into a full-fledged war.
There's lots of people who have been designated terrorists. That does not automatically give the authority to take lethal action.
Asked why he's striking the boats instead of using traditional Coast Guard operations where officers can verify who is on the boat, Trump saying the Coast Guard boats are too slow.
They have faster boats.
It's crazy.
Some of these boats are seriously, I mean, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles.
Like, no one is even asking the question, like, why? We have no business being there, okay? We have no business. We have no business overtaking the territorial coastline of a foreign adversary. Like, that's crazy. That's so insane. Like, the argument of narco-terrorism, like, combating narco-terrorism is so fucking stupid and so hollow that, like, I don't even think most people who would be on board with militarism of this sort are capable of justifying this level of belligerency.
So far, the administration has provided limited details and no evidence to prove that the 27 people killed were attempting to traffic drugs to the U.S. as they claim.
So there's a 1 in 4 chance,
it's crazy,
statistically speaking, that one of these boats may not have had any drugs on it. We will never know because they were blown to smithereens.
In a memo obtained by ABC News earlier this month, the administration told Congress that America is in a formal armed conflict and that drug cartels are deemed unlawful combatants. Now, the Venezuelan government has repeatedly denounced the U.S. strike, saying they are, quote, a pure violation of international rights. Maduro calling them, quote, aggression all down the line. But U.S. officials accuse Maduro of facilitating drug trafficking from Venezuela, a claim he denies.
A boat in the sea and an
We have no business there, but what is Trump's business? What motivates him to do this? I think war is good for the war economy. Maybe it's Venezuela has massive oil reserves. It's not as good as like the Saudi oil, but still, this is a way to repackage the war on drugs that he's claiming he's doing, which is ironic because his administration's behavior, his administration's actions in terms of like interior removals, interior deportations, has actually restructured the entirety of the federal law enforcement apparatus to no longer focus on drug trafficking in general. That is also obviously not an apt solution for overdoses anyway. The most successful solution for overdoses was demonstrated by the previous administration, a focus on rehabilitation over incarceration for those who were addicted to drugs. Addiction being treated like an illness as opposed to being criminalized has been the most effective way to lower the number of overdoses And yet, instead of doing that, this administration has decided we are going to go gung-ho on, the apprehension and the criminalization of drugs. Meanwhile, they're not even doing that anymore. They're just using drugs as a reason to do whatever the fuck they want. They've decided that, like, the new meta is claiming that, like, drug traffickers are terrorists, narco-terrorists, and that they're combating terrorism, but on the narcotics front. They're combating narco-terrorism. That's just the way they operate now. It's I don't know. It's just like a very it's a very shittily put together argument that doesn't make any sense and can't even withstand like a little bit of scrutiny because of the reasons that I just mentioned, right? If you want to actually combat overdoses on U.S. soil, because there's a massive market for drugs here, American drug consumers want the fucking drugs. The best possible way to stop that is rehabilitation, not incarceration. The best way to stop that is by creating not a carceral structure to combat it, but instead to try to get people off these drugs, okay, and engage in harm reduction initiatives. And that has been the only successful method. It's worked in places like Portugal, obviously, with like decriminalization and the subsequent rehabilitative measures that take place. And it has worked in lowering overdose for the first time in the past couple of decades under the Biden leadership, as a matter of fact. And yet Americans refuse to reckon with that and assume that the only way to solve this problem is by fucking bludgeoning it in the head with a goddamn hammer. And the Trump administration is taking advantage of the reactionary forces in American culture and in American society to expand on this, to say, oh, it's not even just that we are going to go after the drug traffickers. We're actually going to present drug traffickers as terrorists and use that as an opportunity to do foreign intervention, foreign entanglements, forever wars, moving away from the Middle East to a certain degree and moving into the South American continent, as though we haven't fucked with Latin America as hard for many years at this point. You know, the moment that they have like a pink tide, is just we have to go back in there. We have to start doing direct military intervention. It's great.
Coming missile. This video was shared with the world by President Trump. He said the US destroyed a Venezuelan boat ferrying drugs to America. 6 people were killed. Donald Trump calls them narco-terrorists. Now he's been astonishingly open about...
We've talked about this already. I already gave you guys like the rundown a while back when this first started happening. But narco-trafficking patterns are pretty clear, right? It doesn't happen. Like, Venezuela is not a hub for drug trafficking. It never has been. There is no evidence whatsoever that these guys that the Trump administration is killing are actually drug traffickers in general. And even if they were drug traffickers, this is not the appropriate way to deal with that. You're supposed to apprehend them. You're supposed to, first of all, demand that Venezuela apprehend them. Okay. And if they don't apprehend them, you're supposed to track them and apprehend them with your own naval vessels. And after conducting a proper investigation. There is no world where you just fucking start lasering random boats off of someone else's coastline. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. And there isn't enough evidence. There isn't enough evidence that like Venezuela has been a major drug trafficking hub in. There has never been any evidence that Venezuela has been a major drug trafficking hub. There was like one idea that was floated many years ago. I dove into it extensively as far as like the claim that Chavistas and his like generals were somehow operating some kind of like narco trafficking hub, but it was just like a ridiculous fucking CIA narrative that they presented that they dropped anyway because they were like, yeah, we don't really need this. Even if they were drug traffickers, it's likely that they're trafficking cocaine as opposed to deadly drugs like fentanyl. Despite Trump's claims, cocaine and marijuana are the only substantial drug shipments from Venezuela, and it is marginal as opposed to all of the other hubs. Drugs do not come into drugs do not flow into the American continent, the United States of America, inside of our borders through these kinds of random drops. They flow through regular ports of entry, okay? They come in cargo vessels. They do not come with go-fast boats. This is not like the cocaine panic, the cocaine cowboys era in Miami, okay? They come through airplanes and they come through cargo vessels. That's it. That is, of course, when they're not coming through Fort Bragg or our beautiful JSOC operations, which is, you know, our special forces that are the #1 drug traffickers in America anyway, or the DEA itself, or the CIA itself. I think the reason why he's trying to fucking do this is because the reason why I think he's entertaining this is because, you know, war is, I guess, good for some of his corporate benefactors, maybe, and he can use the war as a way to I guess no longer have elections, maybe, you know what I mean? Who knows? The opportunities are endless here, like whichever way you want to use it.
The CIA's usually highly secret potential plans in Venezuela. In the Oval Office, he confirmed he has authorized the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct covert operations in the South American country.
I authorized for two reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the they came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And as soon as I heard that, I said, a lot of these countries, they're not the only country, but they're the worst abuser. And they've entered they've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, mental institution, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. We're bringing them back. But that's a really bad, and they did it at a level that probably not, many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Venezuela is by no means the biggest exporter of illicit drugs in South America. And the claim it's sending prisoners...
Not even fucking close, dude. Not even close. Like, it's ridiculous. Donald Trump launched a coup attempt against Venezuela in 2019, boasting of nearly collapsing the country through sanctions and economic war. He said, we would have taken it over. We would have gotten all of that oil. This is from a 2023 speech at a Republican Party event. This has been his like major priority. I've always said he has a sympathy for authoritarian strongmen, except for Maduro. Weirdly enough, he's always hated Maduro. He's always hated Venezuela. And I guess like the primary reason for it is that someone told him that Venezuela has major natural oil reserves. And he's like, I want it. I want it bad. I want it more than anything else. And so that's what it is.
Venezuela. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. Venezuela. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela?
Yeah. As you guys know, the sanctions regime greatly escalated under Trump 1. Obama basically created an environment where sanctions were seen as the perfect and most appropriate measure, where you could take unilateral action against like, economic market competitors and things like that. And Trump was like, oh my God, this is a fantastic opportunity to do regime change all around the world, specifically in Venezuela. Now, of course, famously, in the aftermath of making the economy scream in Venezuela with this accelerated sanctions regime, there was a fuck ton of Venezuelans who obviously escaped the country due to the economic turmoil and due to the material conditions deteriorating and the Maduro regime turning around and really putting the fucking clamp on people that expressed any kind of discontent because they felt like they were being attacked from Western imperialist forces. And there is some truth to that argument, right? But what did Donald Trump do? He literally gave temporary protected status to the Venezuelans that were escaping the country. And he said, you can come here. We will protect you. We'll give you temporary protected status. This is a common practice for America in general, right? And then now he's actually shutting off the temporary protected status and saying hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans that came to the United States of America due to the impact of the fucking sanctions and the cruelty that came in the aftermath from the Maduro government is now they're also enemies of the state at the domestic level. Now he's using them as an opportunity to further his mass deportation agenda. It is totally transparently cruel and unusual. It makes no fucking sense. And he's also simultaneously egging on a war against Venezuela. It's just all kinds of fucked up. It's burning the candle on both ends in many respects. After the strike yesterday on another small boat idling boat in the Caribbean, SOCOM has murdered a total of 27 people. I'm now seeing 2 Boeing B-52 Stratofortress long-range strategic bombers doing figure eights directly off the coast of Caracas. Very subtle. Yesterday, a second AC-130J Ghost Rider gunship was spotted at the task force base in Puerto Rico. It was broadcasting its position from the ground, reportedly equipped with laser-guided AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill have left briefings about the strikes, frustrated with the lack of information. Some have asked for unedited videos of the strike, reflecting the kind of basic information they seek, but the admin has so far refused to provide it. Lawmakers are also asking the admin to explain who was killed in the strikes. Now, this is a direct consequence of years and years of expanding the executive power on warfare. Okay? Back in the day, at least there was a process where even if all of the American government's forces, regardless of party loyalty, were united on expanding America's military adventurism in the global South, obviously there was still like some kind of process where you would have to show your work. You would have to prove why you were doing this kind of stuff, regardless of the ambitions of the Democrats and the Republicans both, right? And that was still important because maybe years down the line, or maybe in the immediate aftermath of actions like this, you could demand some transparency. You could demand additional information. Nowadays, this is the logical conclusion of the Bush era endless militarism and the continuation of executive powers in regards to constantly bombing foreign adversaries that we have declared foreign adversaries under the Obama administration, and then under Trump 1, and then Joe Biden, and then Trump 2. We are here now. This did not happen overnight, is my point. This has been going on for quite a while. Okay? This is the expected outcome. This is the design. Nowadays, the administration doesn't even choose to lie about why they're engaging in these sorts of actions, and they just say, no, cruelty for the sake of cruelty, fuck you gonna do about it? And they are not even accountable to the other politicians. There is no mechanism of accountability or transparency that you can hold the administration accountable with. There's nothing. They can just do whatever the fuck they want. It's crazy. And if we don't stop this, if we don't try to like return to some sense of normalcy and demand that the administration actually dramatically scale back its endless military conquest, it's going to get to a point where the next president after Trump, if there is ever a president at all after that point, is going to start nuking places without any sort of proper process whatsoever. And Americans are still going to be like, well, why didn't he tell us? Why didn't he give us the evidence as to why he had to nuke and crater a Latin American country or some shit? There's many Venezuelans that want Trump to go in and handle Maduro. Yeah, I don't care, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a shit, okay? Oh, yeah, there's many Iraqis who really want Saddam to be toppled. Look how great that worked out for fucking Iraq, okay? I don't give a shit. There is no, like, oh, we're invading a foreign country to deliver them autonomy, okay? It doesn't fucking work that way. It has never worked that way. I don't give a shit about these fucking dumbass narratives, okay? That's it. Yeah, they did this with fucking Gaza. Oh, Palestinians hate Hamas. They're begging for Israel to intervene. Look how well that worked out. There is no world where this is actually a better outcome, okay? There is no world where this is a better outcome for the fucking nation. It's so silly. Is so stupid. I cannot believe that people still advance this idiotic fucking take over and over again. Okay, yeah, they tried the same with Iran. They said the same thing with Iran. They said the same thing with Iraq. They said the same thing with the Gaza Strip and Hamas. They always say the shit. They said it with Afghanistan. There has never been military intervention from a foreign superpower where the local population is like, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. They did this with Vietnam too. This time it's different, right? That's what we're supposed to believe. This time it's going to be different.
To the US is widely disputed. Since September, the US has attacked at least 5 boats in the Caribbean. The administration says it's in armed conflict with drug cartels. UN-appointed human rights experts say the strikes are extrajudicial executions.
No war, just peace.
Even as Venezuela...
So many Americans call for the toppling of the authoritarian so-called President Trump. President Xi, deliver us freedom and prosperity. Hasanabi, wonder if this example would fucking up Americans' eyes absurdity of that statement. Exactly. Like we jokingly say, President Xi, fire when ready, okay? But obviously, the reason why we joke about that is because we are the United States of America. There is no more powerful force on the planet than the United States of America as it stands currently, okay? Regardless of China's rise to power as a force in the international markets, it's still nowhere near the same level of military prowess that America has with 800 military bases around the planet. Okay? It's just not even a thing. It's not a thing. And therefore, when Americans are joking about that, we get to joke about that because we have the confidence of being the United States of America. Okay? This is not a sincere request, is what I mean. Now, some people in the chat will say, no, I'm sincerely saying it. Okay, great. But like, ultimately, if such a thing were to happen, you would not be spared in that process. Do you understand? You would not be spared in that process. And as a matter of fact, a lot of Americans would lose their fucking minds, would actually harden even further against a foreign incursion of this sort. And the same thing has historically happened in every single country that has been invaded by a foreign adversary, a much more powerful foreign adversary. Whether it be the USSR intervening in Afghanistan, whether it be America intervening in Afghanistan, whether it be America intervening in Iraq, whether America and in Israel intervening in Iran as recently as this, the past couple of months, there is always the same like hardening of people's positions against foreign entanglements and foreign intervention. Can you stop pretending like this administration is to blame? Wait, what? This administration is absolutely to blame. But I also am very clear when I talk about this stuff. While this administration is to blame, make no mistake, this is an extension. The Democrats would also have the same policy. Oh my God, dude, shut the fuck up, please. Okay, you're literally presenting a dumber version of the argument that I have already presented a million times over. You literally are presenting a black and white version of the fucking thing that I described for the past hour. Okay? You just want me to say it like a fucking moron. Okay? You just want me to say it like I have some sort of like campus position or something. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Jesus Christ. It's so annoying that there are people out there who are like, no, do not actually have a nuanced approach in this regard. Please say it in a way where people will immediately get mad at you, okay? Because I want people to get immediately mad at you. Only then will I know that you are morally infallible, that you are the true leftist position. The truest leftist position is when you are seeing the world through fucking black and white and only approaching every subject matter with no nuance whatsoever, okay? Trump is currently the president, but as I've said already, Democratic politicians have also greatly expanded the power of the executive office. This is the logical conclusion of endless American militarism around the world, that Donald Trump has decided that he can just go to war with a fucking foreign country that is closer to our backyard than any other country we have actually directly bombed. And he can do that because previous administrations, both Democrat and Republican, have greatly expanded on the executive office's capacity to do so. I explained it already, okay? You don't have to turn around and be like, Democrats would be the same. Like, shut the fuck up, okay? Shut up. Not only would the Democrats not be the same, the Democrats would at least try to make a sophisticated argument that is harder to combat than the Trump administration is in terms of delivering a foreign entanglement as a necessary war, as a necessary and just war, okay? Donald Trump, on the other hand, says the quiet part out loud. He says, I'm a fucking tyrant. I'm going to do this. What are you going to do about it? I'm not even trying to craft a narrative.
Venezuela denies the boats were carrying drugs. The president himself, Nicolas Maduro, has been accused by some American officials of being part of a drug trafficking network. He denies that and suggests the US wants regime change.
Estados contra Argentina.
We remember the coups against Argentina, the coup by Pinochet, and the 5,000 young people assassinated and disappeared. How long will CIA coups continue? Latin America does not want them, does not need them, and repudiates them.
The CIA.
Trump is operating like a dying king, wants legacy, conquer Greenland, Venezuela, and Gaza. He just murdered another boat, killed them. Narrative is bullshit. Yeah. There is no world where this kind of action is justifiable. Okay? The only reason why Trump is doing this is because he can do it. Okay? And ironically enough, this kind of initiative actually hardens Maduro's position, and it justifies Maduro's position. It actually makes the other regional allies that normally are critical of Maduro, for example, for trying to do an incursion into Guyana, right? Turn around and say, actually, we're going to harden our position and we're going to support Maduro in this process because they too have, in recent history, experienced American intervention of sorts. Okay? That's it. This, I hope, will cause Latin American countries, Latin American leadership, the ones that aren't completely servile to the U.S., like Argentina, to look at this, to look at the situation and maybe even develop stronger ties with China.
Has a long and controversial record in South America, carrying out operations in several countries, including Chile. It's admitted that during the coup of 1973, it actively supported the military junta which took over, leading to the rise of Augusto Pinochet, whose dictatorship saw human rights abuses, forced disappearances and mass executions. Nicolas Maduro is widely accused of having stolen elections last year, but the US really doesn't like the Venezuelan president. It says he's an indicted drug trafficker and has put up a $50 million reward for information leading to his arrest and or conviction. In response to the...
I got it. He's in Caracas. That'll be $50 million, please. Thank you. There you go. Easy money, baby. Let's go. Easy money, baby. How did I know? He told me. I'll take that in PayPal, please. I'll take that in the form of Twitch subscriptions, sir. American government, give the $50 million to me in the form of Twitch subscriptions, please. Support the Piker Broadcasting Service, please. I just gave you incredible evidence that will lead to the apprehension of the foreign leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. He is in Caracas. Please fund the Piker Broadcasting Service now. It's the other PBS. Too late. I already gave them this info. Sleepy Owl. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. It's coming in. The U.S. government's coming in slowly but surely, okay? In the form of Sleepy Owls, 5 gifted subs. All right. Open presents with a 25 gifted.
Escalating tensions, Nicolas Maduro has put the army on the streets of the capital, Caracas, and the surrounding area. The government says to coordinate defense. The military has also been giving civilians weapons training. This woman is being shown the ropes of an anti-aircraft machine. They've been told the US wants a change of president because it wants their oil and other resources. What Donald Trump's game plan in the Caribbean is unclear. Asked if the CIA has been given authority to remove Nicolas Maduro, he didn't deny it.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela's feeling heat.
The U.S.
I'm going to be honest. The reason why they're asking you that question is because you do end up answering it. I mean, he quite literally said the other day that, yes, the CIA is doing an operation.
Here today to announce a historic victory for American women, mothers, and families with the actions I will outline this afternoon will dramatically slash the cost of IVF and the treatment and many of the most common fertility drugs for countless millions of Americans. Prices are going way down, way down. I want to thank Libby Horn, who is the Senior Vice President of Fertility of EMD Serrano. So I want to thank you. Let's see here. That's what I thought. I thought it was you. Thank you, Libby, very much. And let me also thank the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., whose wife destroyed the people on The View yesterday.
Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals refused to undo order blocking deployment of National Guard troops within Illinois. We conclude that the district court's factual findings were not clearly erroneous, and the facts do not justify the president's actions.
She did a great job, actually. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard.
I never thought I'd be saying this, but thank God for at least some of the courts in this country that are literally like it is the elastic band that is on its last leg that is slated to snap at any moment, but it is straight up holding what remains of like American institutions together before we just completely collapse and become a fascist authoritarian dictatorship. Straight up. It is literally just like it's on its last fucking leg, this last barrier. It's like the Cheeto before the SWAT team comes in and breaks the door. But so far, the Cheeto has held. Okay, you know how the fucking the little Cheeto meme holding the door together? That's what the American courts are, okay?